Hi, I'm Eva Kalian, the Training and Development Coordinator with ASI University, and I'm going to be presenting today's session on active listening techniques. Active listening is a technique used to completely concentrate on a speaker, understand their message, comprehend the information, and respond thoughtfully. And we're going to get into some basic benefits of active listening, and then we're going to cover some techniques to implement to practice active listening. The benefits of practicing active listening are plentiful, but we are going to go over some key benefits here. So firstly, active listening helps you truly understand what is being said in conversations and meetings, and then this goes on to aid in avoiding miscommunication and misunderstanding. Active listening helps to diffuse conflict by making sure that you are both clearly understanding what the other is saying. And then in turn, it helps to build relationships by establishing that rapport and that trust. So we'll get started here by going over 6 key active listening skills. Number 1, pay attention. Number 2, withhold judgment. Number 3, reflect. Number 4, clarify. Number 5, summarize. And then finally, number 6, share. So we'll get started on our first point, pay attention. Give the other person the opportunity to think and speak. Allow wait time before responding so that you aren't cutting someone off or finishing their sentence or starting to formulate your answer before they've finished. When you start formulating your answer before a person has even finished talking, you're already tuning out what that person is saying. So it's important to remember to pay attention to your body language as well as your frame of mind. And lastly, be focused on the moment and operate from a place of respect as the listener. Withhold judgment when another person is speaking. Try to keep an open mind. As a listener, be open to new ideas, new perspectives, and new possibilities when practicing active listening. Hold any criticisms and avoid arguing or selling your point right away. Reflect. When you're the listener, don't assume that you understand the other correctly or that they know you've heard them. Mirror the speaker's information and emotions by periodically paraphrasing key points. That way they know that you've been listening, you're recalling information that they gave to you, and you're reflecting. Once again, reflecting is an active listening technique that indicates that you and your counterpart are on the same page. Clarify. Ask questions about any issue that is ambiguous or unclear. As a listener, if you have doubt or confusion about what someone has said, say something like, "Let me see if I'm clear. Are you talking about?" Or "Wait a minute, I didn't follow you." Clarifying to make sure you understand what the speaker has said is such a key part of active listening. Summarize. Restating key themes as the conversation proceeds confirms and solidifies your grasp of the other person's point of view. It also allows the other person to know that you were listening to what they were saying. It helps both parties to be clear on mutual responsibilities and follow-up. Briefly summarize what you have understood while practicing active listening and ask the other person to do the same. That way we can ensure that there is effective communication happening between both parties. Share. Active listening is first about understanding the other person, then about being understood as the listener. As you gain a clearer understanding of the other person's perspective, you can begin to introduce your ideas, feelings, and suggestions. You might talk about a similar experience you had or share an idea that was triggered by a comment made previously in the conversation. So strong active listening skills are acquired when accepting criticism, dealing with people's feelings, any sort of emotionally charged conversation, and trying to understand what others think. So how do you know that active listening is a skill that you need to work on? Try asking yourself, do you have a hard time concentrating on what is being said? Do you think about what to say next rather than about what the speaker is saying? Do you dislike it when someone questions your ideas or actions? Do you give advice too soon and suggest solutions to problems before the other person has fully explained his or her perspective? Do you tell people not to feel the way they do? Do you talk significantly more than the other person talks? If any of this applies, then you may not be practicing active listening. So here's some active listening tips. Limit distractions. Pay attention to what is being said, not what you want to say. Be okay with silence. Silence usually means that the other person is thinking and you're thinking as well. Encourage the other person to offer ideas and solutions before you give yours. Restate the key points you heard and ask whether they are accurate. And that wraps it up for today's session. Thank you for your time and be sure to implement these active listening techniques.